Hello, and I am so excited to welcome you to listen to Dr. Arnie Buss as he shares with us tips, techniques, and strategies that women who have been through divorce can use to create stronger, better relationships in the future. Arnie, so great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Marty.
And I am so looking forward to this event. Before we get into talking about all of the things that you're doing, let's cover a couple of basic just things. Who should attend?
I think any woman who has experienced a divorce and is also looking into or involved in a next relationship and wants to ensure that that relationship works out better than the first one.
Yeah, we know statistically what the problem is with second and third relationships. They don't tend to be better, do they?
Indeed, that is such a problem. You would think that people would learn. Again, I don't want to blame anyone. I think what happens is maybe they realize a little earlier when things go wrong and then just pull the chain. But I think it's really more about relationship skills. Uh, Being in a making a wonderful relationship is a requires skills that nobody ever teaches us.
Yes, yes, something they definitely should. Speaking about skills we should have, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges divorced women face as they're getting into these new relationships?
I think one of the biggest challenges is that they tend to communicate in pretty much the same way as in their previous relationship. If if those skills are not up leveled, then a lot of times the same problems that were encountered in the first relationship just show up just in maybe in a slightly different form in the second, and without the kind of relationship skills that are involved with uh, deep listening, empathetic connection, and especially repair, uh, then just the same problems tend to show up in the second relationship as in the first.
And sometimes I think they're even more, like you said, because we're sensitive already to what happened in our last relationship. We see those warning signs and we're like, I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm not been there, done that, and I don't need to do it again. So I
Exactly.
love that idea. And I know that you just touched on this and you talked about some skills that people really need to do that can completely change the way that a couple connects. Why do you think that that is so powerful and so helpful in supporting a relationship?
Well, I base a lot of these things on my own experience in my marriage. Just if I could speak about myself for a little bit, when my wife and I've been married for 20 years, we just hit a wall. We wanted to stay together, but we couldn't figure out how. We saw marriage counselor after marriage counselor. We even were in like a weekend marriage program, and all of these were kind of, especially the weekend program, they helped a little bit, but we just kind of fell back into the same patterns. What made the one thing that made the difference, well, and in fact, what happened was because of all these things that didn't really help us, we wound up separating and we filed for divorce. And so it looked like it was inevitable. And kind of at the 11th hour, basically, my wife dragged me to this class on communication, which being a classic guy, I never would have taken. But that really is what made the difference for me and for us. That is learning communication skills so that we could really deal with our differences. And uh, what happened was within a year we were able to actually reconcile. So I consider the last 20 years, and it's been more than 20 years since, it's really like our second marriage. We had our first marriage, and so I feel that the second one is just it's like we're different people.
Yeah, and
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 yeah.
it's so important to have that that personal story. And I think that makes it so powerful if you've lived through it, experienced it, and seen the benefits of these skill set.
Yeah. Exactly. And now, we still have our differences, our conflicts that come up in every relationship. But now, thanks to these communication skills, it's not only can we deal with them in a manner which really enhances and deepens the relationship, but just knowing that we have the skills to deal with that allows us to confront differences in a more effective way, in a way that just draws us closer.
And one of the things I love is I've had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Arnie Buss a couple of times, and I know that he is going to share practical, strategic tools that you can use. And you say in this webinar that you are offering at no cost, completely complimentary for people to come in, that they're actually going to get some tools that they can start using right away. Did I hear that right?
Absolutely. I'm going to be teaching the one most effective tool that made all the difference for me, and that's something that I call tracking, and you'll learn all about it in the webinar. But that is the one skill that made the difference. Now, in my simpatico communication method, there's a whole suite of different approaches and tools for doing this, but this one tool that just makes all the difference.
I
And
love
yeah, I'll be teaching that. I'll also be um, delving a little bit into why some of the standard tools didn't exactly work for us, and why they may not be working for anybody who's dealing with it. That's something that my wife encountered, like when we were in counseling. They would typically teach us these communication tools. But when we got into an argument or a conflict, they just got thrown out the window.
Sure,
And
sure.
this one tracking skill that I'm going to teach is what made all the difference in the world.